Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and I'm so glad that you're here today. Recently we took a look at the Transformers Prime First Edition Starscream. Long time ago we looked at the Dark Energon Starscream, and this should be fairly quick today, but we're going to focus on the first, if not the first, certainly the most prominent of the female Decepticon Seekers by way of the Transformers Prime version of Slipstream. She's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby! Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, and also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the Transformers Collectors Club Timelines version of Slipstream using the first edition Starscream mold. I think it's one of the most successful versions of Slipstream, and we've had a couple since. One that used the Generations Windblade mold. That was fairly successful. Another that came out in Cyberverse using that very lackluster kneeless version of Starscream. And this one. That might be the only three official ones, though I've seen some excellent customs over the years as well. One thing that's always sort of iconic is the color scheme, mixing teal and purple with highlights of gray and black, and it holds true here. Like I said, this should be fairly quick. We have documented the transformation going from robot to from vehicle to robot. Now we will quickly document it going from robot to vehicle. We'll also kind of see this alongside a couple of other Seekers and several other of the Transformers Prime Decepticons. This does have a new head, but mine also has one kind of, I want to say major, but it's not major. It does have an assembly issue, which really speaks to the problem of something being exclusive. Nevertheless, she is pretty fantastic. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this. And so I'm going to endeavor to make this as quick as I possibly can. This, of course, is the Collectors Club subscription service version of Slipstream, which of course is based on the first edition mold. I'm pretty sure that she appeared in like the Aligned Continuity novels and probably like the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games, if I'm not mistaken. I know that she is humorous, she's sarcastic. I know Starscream can't stand her. What else is new? We have seen Slipstream in some of the more modernized fiction. I mean, she had a Legends release using the Generations Windblade mold, and I think she even had a release in Cyberverse, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. So like she's had a few releases, but this was the first, and I believe she was the first or second character that the subscription service ever did, like very, very early on, right? Like the old Collectors Club, right? I think she looks great, but as such, I'm going to say that her look is a 10. I only kind of have the, I guess, maybe game model to compare it to, and it's hard to say for sure. I mean, maybe she should have, a little less green on her abdomen. Maybe that should be more purple. Maybe on her thighs we should have a little of the greeny color kind of coming up around, but generally this is pretty darn good. Now, I do want to note two things. One is the head sculpt. If we look at them a little closer, she seems to have bigger eyes, and she doesn't have the soft rubbery plastic crest, which I prefer, to be honest with you, since the head hides away in alt mode. By the way, it was just the last review that went up on the channel where we looked at this Starscream. As for the Dark Energon Starscream, we looked at that in episode 299. The second thing, which you probably already noticed, is the biceps. Look at the left one over on this side. It is backwards. That's because it's misassembled. I tried to pop the pin to turn it around. I couldn't get the pin out, and the plastic is, I don't want to say thin, but the mold itself is thin, so I really didn't want to push it. I might have to, I don't know, fill that in with some Bondic or something and paint her biceps all the way around. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit up my buddy Justin from the 3D Corner. He's usually pretty handy with that sort of stuff. So again, while I said her look is a 10, we have to realize that there is a misassembly issue. I'm not going to mark her down for it because it is what it is. I'm sure most people's were fine, but unfortunately my copy is slightly misassembled. Does it affect anything? Well, that's a very fair question. The head goes left and right. It can look way up and down. You can lift it all the way up if you want. The wings go all the way back. The arm goes all the way around on both sides and way out to the side. We still have our elbow to 90 degrees. We can still do across the body. There is I guess a version of the transformation where the arms aren't extended for her. It gives you kind of gorilla elbows then that don't bend very far, because you would have to use this other hinge for an elbow in that case if the arms weren't extended. I don't like that. The waist, I mean, is free flowing. Starscream is somewhat hunched, and so could she be, but I kind of prefer her stood up a little straighter, and there's some, I guess, unofficial transformations, some art of the character model that kind of supports that variation of her standing up straight. Legs out that far, I don't think you would want more. It'd be nice if you could have a bit more. Leg goes all the way forward, leg goes all the way back, thigh swivel, 90 degree at the knee. Again, we could take out these little pieces on the back of the leg if you want. I'm not really sure why they're there. And I don't have instructions, so maybe they do something vital, but you know what? I've never seen a real use for them. Toes forward and back. Again, she has the same sort of standing issues as the other two. But if you get the feet just right, she'll be just fine. When I say the other two, I mean the Dark Energon Starscream and the Transformers Prime First Edition Starscream. And I suppose the Skywarp and the Thundercracker that use this mold as well. It's a great Seeker mold, and I think it fits Slipstream particularly well because though she's a Seeker, I've always seen her as a little more slight, a little more refined, a little more feminine, a little more, suave, smooth, you know? So rather than being the usual kind of plotting, bigger, bulkier Seeker, I kind of dig this for her. The articulation, I said when I done the Dark Energon Starscream that I wanted to give it a 9.5 because of the standing issues. I dropped it to a 6. This, the regular Starscream, I said 9.5. Again, standing issues, I dropped it to a 7.5, and that became an 8.5. Here, same sort of thing. I'm gonna even it all out and give the articulation an 8.5. So we have a 10 for the look, an 8.5 for the articulation. We're gonna do the transformation back now to plane mode, because we've already seen it from plane to robot, so we're going to do it now, robot back to plane. I probably showed it going from robot to plane back with the Dark Energon Starscream if you want to go back there, but that was a long time ago. Let's see kind of how smoothly it works out this time. Oh, before I do that though, there she is with a smattering of other Transformers Prime Decepticons from sort of all across the Pantheon, like Dead End and Soundwave are the regular deluxe Robots in Disguise versions. Then we have like Beast Hunter's Dreadwing and Knockout, and even the Megatron is the Sharkticon one, custom painted. And of course I threw in the Seekers here again as well. I mean, she fits in just fine. And not for nothing, but here she is next to the Beast Hunter's version, deluxe version of Starscream. She's a little bit bigger, certainly a higher parts count, certainly more interesting. Alright, let's do the transformation back to plane mode. We're going to take the null rays off the arms just because. We're going to fold out those tail fins, fold in a hand, fold out a tail fin, fold in a hand, collapse the arm all the way up. You'll see this pin here move, collapse the arm all the way up. We'll come here to the back and pick all of this off and close up that tail fin. We're going to bring the thruster up around and turn that around. The head goes into the body. So we're going to take all of that and sort of angle it up. Now we're going to take these arms and we're going to bring them up over. And we're going to kind of position it like that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. We're going to take this arm and we're going to bring it all the way up over. We're going to turn that out. And really, we're going to sandwich all of this around the like tail fin and stuff here, right? So that the whole kind of torso here sort of kind of comes together. We're going to take the wings here and we're going to use the gray hinge in here to bring the wing forward and to bring this wing also forward. There's a little slot here and a little tab there that goes in there. Yes, I know I don't have this solidified back here yet, but I will get to that shortly. We're going to unpeg the two little pegs from the nose cone here, and we're going to turn that around, and then we're going to turn this around. So you turn the entire upper body around, and then you turn the waist around after to get the nose cone all together. Then, and again, I know that I don't have this sandwiched in because really what's supposed to happen is, see if I can actually show this before I sandwich it in, because I might have to sandwich it in off camera. Off camera. There's a little rectangular tab here on either side, and on the inside of the arms there's slots, and those tabs should go into the little rectangular slots on the arms. Oh, maybe I just squeezed it together. I think I got it, which is nice. I didn't think I was going to get to do that on camera. Okay, so we're going to bring the torso back down, and again, as we collapse this gray hinge, we have a couple of little rectangular tabs that'll go back up into the cockpit section thusly, and like this little section here is like the front landing gear. We're going to close up the feet, and now as we bring up the legs, we have a little rectangular tab right there, and one on the other side, and on the side of the feet we have, or ankles I guess I should say, we have a couple of like little rectangular slots that should go there. I just want to make sure now that I'm doing all of this right. Think so. I think I'm doing it all right. So indeed I made a little boo-boo during the transformation. You'll notice that I have the waist plugged into the front of the nose cone in those gray ports, but really what's supposed to happen is it collapses up here and pegs into the purple ports. Now I can put the legs back and tab them onto these pegs here, so that in the end we can, actually there's two pegs. There's a peg here that goes into the thigh as well, and a peg back here. But in the end, when we peg both of those on, boom, here we have Slipstream in her plane mode. And yes, indeed, there she is. I think that this looks very, very good. I did make, like I said, a little error down there. Yes, we do have robot legs underneath, but in general, I think it's fairly successful. I think it's fairly sleek. We have molded in landing gear on the legs, so like at least we have something that can mimic that. I think of all of the uses of this, the metallic-y, emeraldy green is the most gorgeous paint that I could possibly think of here. I'm going to say the transformation's still a 10. I mean, a couple of twists at the waist, the legs go back logically, the arms come up here very smooth and sleek. You saw even how easily I pegged them in when I didn't think I was going to be able to do it on camera. An absolute success. I think this mold was fantastic for the Dark Energon Starscream. I think it was great for the regular Starscream, and quite frankly, I think it's great for Slipstream. Her final scores, a 10 for the look, an 8.5 for the articulation, and a 10 for the transformation. If we average it out, she's somewhere around a 9 to a 9.25. She was and is still a splendid rendition of Slipstream. A seeker who arguably should deserve much more attention than what she usually gets. And here we are once again, and here she is, ever sarcastic, ever insulting to Starscream especially. You gotta love the characterization of Slipstream. She's strong, she's brash, she's definitely a strong-willed female, which is great. She falls right in line with characters like Arachnid and Black Arachnia, Alita 1, RC, so she's very much there. She's a very cool, calm, and collected character for the most part, and she definitely sees herself as better than most of the other Seekers, and I get why. The assembly issue relates to the bicep over here. It's a shame that it was put on backwards. Luckily, all the articulation works and the transformation still works. It just looks a little bad. Like I said, hopefully I'll be able to, at some point, get it rectified, fixed. I've tried a couple of times, but I haven't had any luck yet. Who knows? I think it's the way the pin was put in. I think you would have to get the serrated edge all the way back out through the plastic, and I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't know. We'll see as time goes. The transformation, brilliant. The look, brilliant. The characterization, brilliant. And the new head sculpt is just different enough and just feminine enough that, you know what? It looks appropriate for the character. I think she's an absolute win. I love the mold and I love this use of it. Let me know what you think about Slipstream. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Please, while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here, inside the videos.